What's up, guys? And welcome to the first official episode of That's Just My Life with me, your host, Bre. I am so excited to take you guys on this journey with me. Podcasting is something I wanted to start for so long, and I just never really thought I could do it. I was scared, all the things, thinking I'm going to fail, thinking, like, what are people going to think? But I really just entered this era of, like, I'm going to do what makes me happy. I'm going to speak my truth. Gonna let everyone think what they want to think because at the end of the day, they probably aren't relevant. Like, that sounds so bad, but like, if people aren't paying my bills or in my immediate inner circle where they're affecting my happiness and all these things, then I don't really care what they think. Because when I announced that I wanted to start a podcast, I got so much support, so much more than I even thought I was going to get, which honestly is so encouraging and just makes me even more excited to start this and start this journey and really hope that I can inspire somebody. I have really been through a lot. It's probably an understatement, but every time I share part of my story on social media for like the mental health awareness months or anything like that, I really get bombarded with how much I inspire people, how strong I am, which is kind of one of my least favorite things to hear. And we'll dive into that in another episode. But I truly just wanted to be a part of something that may help somebody else. And if I can start this podcast, and if a little teenage girl or middle adult or even older woman hear it and they're like, oh, this girl helped heal a part of me, then like that's so accomplishing to me. And that's all I'm here for. Because the life isn't easy. And sometimes all I need is to know that somebody relates. So I really hope that you guys enjoy coming on this journey with me. I hope that I can say something that resonates in you, help you heal a part of you, or even at least be like, hey, somebody gets it. Because trust me, I get it. Uh, this podcast, we're going to cover all things chronic illness, nursing school, toxic family, toxic hometown. I upped and moved across the state to leave my hometown, and 10 out of 10, the best decision I ever made. Talking all those obstacles that we go through, until we truly start to find ourselves, which is kind of where I'm at in my life right now, trying to find my truest self. I found my amazing boyfriend a couple years ago when I moved to Kansas City, and he's really helped me just open up to a whole different side of myself. And I'm so excited to continue my healing journey and bring you guys all along with me. So, enough of that. We're going to dive right in. I didn't want to trauma dump on my first episode, so we're going to start with a simple little, what the are we doing in our 20s? Because I feel like it's such an expectation where people are like, oh, you need to know what you're doing in your 20s. Like, you need to have a plan, you need to have your life together. And, like, actually, no. Stop everybody right there because, like, I'm 25 and I really thought I had my together. Turns out I don't. I, I don't. And 90% of the people in your 20s that you ask, like, they don't know either. Like, we're all just going with the flow. And I feel like lately it's been a little more acceptable and kind of like a little bit more in the social norm to like, oh, like your 20s are for living and figuring things out. You don't have to have it figured out. But there for a while, like when I was growing up, I was like, oh, I have to have kids by 23, like married, all the things. Like, but no, like, no, 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 no. Like, think about it. They make you an adult at 18 years old. Some of us are kind of forced to grow up a little sooner than that. That unfortunately was my position. But also, like, now I'm in my 20s and I get to be a kid again because I have this amazing boyfriend who helps me navigate through these things. I have found a support system that I went 22 years without having. And so my 20s for me are, I'm living my life. I'm finally getting to travel. I'm finding love. I'm finding myself. I mean, all these things that people did in their, like, I guess, early 20s. I'm still kind of in my early 20s. But, into those teenage years, going into their 20s. Like, they knew what they were doing with their career. They knew what they were doing with XYZ in their life. But me, no. I transferred schools multiple times. Like I said, moved across the state. I I've done a lot of things because I just didn't know what I was doing. So I was like, okay, well, we'll just do this and see what happens. And that's okay. Like, I was really beating myself up on it for a while because, especially social media, social media is a scam. I say that as a girly that loves social media. I love my TikTok. I love my Facebook and Instagram posts. Love making a big old sappy post. But it's a scam. 98% of people are not posting that they're in the trenches. They're going to post their amazing honeymoon they just went on, the exciting newborn stage. They're not going to post that them and their husband are fighting. They're not going to post that their newborn keeps them up all night and makes them want to rip their hair out. No hate to any mamas. I can't wait to be a mama personally. Like, it's in my blood. I'm made for it. But I just know where I'm at in my life right now. Love mamas though. But that leads me, like, I have a best friend who just finished her master's. So proud of her. I have another best friend who just had a baby. Another one of my friends has a couple kids and engaged. And like, I have friends who are married. Like, all of these people that I went to high school with or I met in college. And like, they're all on these such incredible paths and they have a career established. And like, I'm trying to finish my bachelor's still. So, like, it's so hard not to compare. But I'm really learning that you can't. You can't compare what you see somebody else going through to what you're going through and where you're at in your life because everybody is so different. We come up with different supports. We come up with facing different obstacles. You know, we're all on a separate journey. I'm so glad it's starting to be normalized that like 30 is not old. Say it again. Say it with me. 30 is not old. When I was like 12, if you asked me, like, what age do you consider old? I bet 30. 30 is old. But now I'm 25 and I'm like, oh, 70? 70 is kind of old. Maybe 80. But also, like, there's so much you can still do in your 20s. You can change your mind. You can change careers. You can move across the state. You can move across the country if you want. Like, your 20s are for figuring things out, not for you to have it figured out. And I wish it's something that I had learned sooner because I have been so hard on myself for so long for not having it figured out. But it's not a timeline, it's not a race. Everybody truly is on their own journey. And I am so glad that my plan did not go as what I had planned in my head because God's plan for me was so much better. Like, I am truly falling in love with myself, falling in love with my life. And that's something I never ever thought I would do. Like, I really thought I was gonna live this mediocre, I hate my life, but I'm pushing through. But I took a chance in my 20s and I did something scary and it ended up changing my life. So your 20s are for those decisions. When you're like, I kind of want to do this, but I'm scared, do it. Like, what do you have to lose? Because I promise you, losing yourself, trying to stay comfortable and stay where you're at and settle and do all these things that people want you to do, like, no, it's not worth it. Take the chance, do something scary, use your 20s to truly dive into what you want in life, explore, make mistakes, do whatever the heck you want because that's truly what your 20s is for. Not for figuring your life out, like, not for having to have your life figured out. We do not have to have our life figured out in our 20s. And boomers, I don't know if I have any boomers that are going to listen to this, but if I do, stop judging us. Stop asking when we're going to have babies. Stop asking when we're going to get married because we don't know. And you don't get to know either. Like, and I feel like that older generation is so stuck in that way. They're like, you know, like that awkward Thanksgiving dinner when they're like, oh, so when are you guys getting married? So when are you guys going to have a baby? Not right now. Probably not next year. Probably not till like my 30s because I truly just want to live right now. And that's okay. Like, and that's another thing. Like, our grandparents and even parents grew up in such a different time and generation and society and the economy. Like, everything was so different for them. Like, they could probably buy a house for what, like $80,000 and they could get a decent house. Like, no, not today. That we can't do that. Like, like $5 for a carton of eggs. Crazy. I'm not going to bring a kid into this world when eggs are $5 a carton and I'm not even done with nursing school yet. Like, no. And we don't owe anybody an explanation for that. And I really truly wish like our older generations would stop hounding us, because we're going to do it when we're ready. Like, this isn't the 1900s. We're not meant to just do housework and tend to the kids and do all the things. Women are the shit nowadays. Women are top-notch badasses. Like, and shout out to growing up with Taylor Swift, like Alexa, cue Taylor Swift the man, because these women like Kelsey Ballerini and Taylor Swift and Megan Romney, and Alex Cooper. I can't express how much her documentary truly pushed me to do this and show me like it's okay. And I know I don't have to have it all figured out, but if I want it, I need to go for it. And if I have a voice that I think needs to be heard, then I need to express that voice. And these powerful women are showing us that we can do it. We don't need a man. We don't have to have kids and marriage and all these things by 30. Literally every woman I just listed, Kelsey and Taylor, like they're 30 and up, but they're living their truest self right now. They both went through a healing era and found themselves, and they're inspiring so many women with their music and the things they are doing. And truly, I feel like our society is kind of starting to accept that. I'm so thankful for that. But it's also, we have been having this drilled into us since we were young that like figure out what you're doing in your 20s. And it's so hard. No, you just don't. You don't have to have it figured out in your 20s. You don't have to have it figured out in your 30s. 30 is still so young. I hate social media, like I said, comparison. You cannot compare, especially because things are different for everybody. Also, career goals change. I had a friend who started nursing school, got into it, we got into clinical, and she was like, I don't like this. She's like, this is not for me. And she left the nursing program. I think she transferred schools, so I don't chat with her much anymore. But, she realized that wasn't for her, and she made a change. Your goals and your focus and your aspirations and like they change as you grow. And that's something that needs to be acknowledged. Miracles happen, babies are born, weddings happen, chronic illness happens. That's something that's really impacted my journey in my 20s, because I became chronically ill. I don't know if that's how you say it. Like, how do we become chronically ill? I don't know. It needs to be researched. Like, I just woke up one day and didn't feel good. Chronic illness. It's going to be a whole other episode. Chronically ill girlies get it. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you're so lucky. But, like, truly, there's so many different things that happen, and you cannot compare somebody else's journey to your own. You also can't compare where you were at a couple of years ago to where you are now. Because in some aspects of my life, I was so much better than I am right now. I was working out in the gym all the time. Like, I was playing my sports. I had friends. I moved to Kansas City, and I feel like now my only friends are my sister-in-law. That's okay. I love them. They're the best of friends. But also on the flip side of that, like, I am healthy now. And like, yes, my chronic illness keeps me from really lifting the way I want to lift, but I am baby stepping back into that. And, I left all those friends I had and realized that they weren't really my friends. If my two sister-in-laws are my two best friends, then so be it. They're the best of friends I've ever had. I've never had to ask them for anything. And that's another thing. The friends you meet in your 20s, when you start taking chances and doing these things, they're going to be so much more, most likely, than the friends you made in middle school and high school. Like, we mature and we grow so much once we get out into the real world. And not everybody stays aligned. And I feel like that's one thing that also keeps me from beating myself up, is I've made friends with people that are on a different path, but also friends that are on the same path. And that's really helped like keep me in check with like, I don't have to have this done right now. And it is okay to live my life. Before Clayton, I never really got to travel. I worked 3 jobs. I went to school. I was pretty miserable. Moved to Kansas City, realized that that doesn't have to be the case. I like I said, I get to travel. We travel a lot for paintball. If you follow me on social media, you see our post. I just get to explore myself. But this podcast, I would have never done this. Mm-mm. But I have an amazing support system now. Alex Cooper's documentary, like I said, these women empowering this young, generation below them to do the things you're scared of. Take a chance. Let your voice be heard because it deserves to be heard. And truly just embrace who you are. And that's what your 20s is about. Your 20s, you don't have to have it figured out. You don't have to live up to people's expectations. And cut yourself some slack because you're getting crew. That's all I've got for today, but I cannot thank you guys enough for joining me for this first episode, and I hope to see you back next week.